Today we're talking about one of the most innovative, futuristic, utilitarian slash tactical, sleek, avant-garde in its own way. We're talking about a brand that introduced the world to techwear. We're talking about Acronym. Let's get right into the video. Howdy y'all, I hope you guys are all doing well. I hope you guys are safe and I hope you guys are healthy. My name is Josh and I absolutely love clothing and personal style. So if you're into that type of content, feel free to subscribe to me here on YouTube as well as follow me on Instagram at @where's_Galdo. I'm a little sick, so if I seem a little hoarse in the voice, I apologize, but we're talking about Acronym. If you don't know what Acronym is, boy, do I have a treat for you guys. It is probably one of the most influential brands in terms of technical clothing, in my opinion. It does kind of create the same thing over and over again, but the improvements based on technological advancements in the textile space has created and has just improved upon their designs over and over again. Acronym is techwear. I'd be surprised if you ever met someone who was into techwear but just didn't know what Acronym was, and here I'm going to go ahead and introduce you guys to a brief little history of the brand and show you guys some items that I picked up. If you look at the cohesiveness of Acronym's products as well as their campaigns and multiple different kind of sprinkles of niches within the Acronym universe, you can definitely see this consistency, this futurism that is really apparent in the brand, and that is kind of their primary design language, is to apply technological advances to the Acronym world. And I say the Acronym world because it is their very specific view of what is the future for fashion. It really does look like you are from like Cyberpunk 2077. It looks like that you are this tactical ninja in an urban environment. And that's what I absolutely love about it. It has such an attitude about the clothing. Allow me to give you a little bit of the Acronym backstory. So Acronym was founded in 1994 by Errolson Hugh, the primary designer of Acronym, and Michaela Lord, this is a German name, Sachenbacher, and was first established as a design agency, oftentimes consulted to design outerwear for other brands until they started to design their own clothing under the Acronym label around 1999. Some of the biggest names that I see associated with Errolson Hugh / Acronym is going to be Nike. For a time, Errolson Hugh did design with Nike ACG to create probably some of the best clothing that I've seen Nike ever come out with. Stone Island Shadow Project is another project that Errolson Hugh worked on, and then there's also, they've done multiple collaborations with United Arrows, which is a very big retailer in Japan. And not only that, but there has been a lot of celebrities associated with Acronym. The biggest name that comes to mind is going to be John Mayer. It is one of John Mayer's favorite brands, at least if not now, it was in the past at some point, because John Mayer was heavily involved in one of Acronym's campaigns, which kind of blended Acronym with this Western aesthetic, which I thought was a very fascinating point in the brand, but really cool nonetheless. There are definitely multiple avenues that people may have been introduced to Acronym itself. One of which, I mean, could be just through the clothing itself, or through their collaborations, or through the celebrity endorsement, or even through video games. Errolson Hugh and Acronym work very closely with Hideo Kojima and their design team, and they actually created some of the costuming and outfitting for Death Stranding, which they put it in the game, but they also made real-life versions of jackets that were found in the game as well, which I thought was such a cool crossover between video games and fashion. I highly suggest that you guys go into the YouTube search bar up top and go ahead and look up Acronym Movement 1-4. That's a video that's going to be, I think, like 15 years old at this point, but it is the perfect example of the Acronym team showing these pieces of clothing, how they work, the features and the utility associated with these clothes, which I think is a really cool thing for a company or a brand to do. And in the more modern era of things, if you look up Acronym Jutsu, there are other more modern renditions of these things using the different features that are available on their pieces of clothing. But not only that, but also these pieces of clothing in motion and in use. There are some videos on YouTube specifically that have people wearing Acronym, like of the Acronym team, of course, but they are doing martial arts movements showing how versatile and how flexible these pieces of clothing are. Now allow me to show you a couple of the acronym items that I own. So this first one is going to be a sneaker, a collaboration with Nike, Nike Blazer Low. And I got these from a Nike outlet for like, I think a little less than $100, which is pretty crazy. The box is really interestingly, like, you know, kind of almost hypnotic in nature with the huge Nike logo and acronym logo there. Even the paper itself has this. You know, they really do pay attention to the very little details of everything that they do, and I really, really appreciate that. So, looking at the shoe, it is just so kind of funky looking. So you can see, obviously, this front portion is going to be pretty much a standard Blazer Low with this kind of like, I don't even know what to call this upper. It's kind of like this weave, as you can see the texture on it, but it does have these laser cuts in them. And as you wear the shoe and as this material starts to kind of like curl up because they're cut, you start to see more of the color underneath, which is just a white shoe. And then over here, I mean, the front looks like a very basic like Nike Blazer. You got some co-branding on the tongue over here, the exposed foam on the tongue as well, branded insoles. And the thing I'm trying to avoid talking about right now, because I'm saving the best for last on this shoe, is this back portion. Really, really weird, really fascinating. I don't even know what to call it. It's kind of like a brace. It is made of plastic and it has these screws in it. Well, these shoes came with this little dog tag, and you can actually use this dog tag to unscrew these particular screws. Take this plastic brace off, and you can actually replace it with other ones. Over here, they come with like a very vibrant yellow, and I don't know if I would add that to it. Honestly, actually, I think I might. This is pretty cool. But I have seen other people like on Etsy and on sneaker pages back in the day, they used to 3D print different backs for these shoes, and the modularity of it just seems so, so cool to me. And I don't see any other brand thinking about things like that to incorporate technology like 3D printing to add to their products. It's mind-blowing to me. I don't wear sneakers very often, but honestly, now that I've kind of brought these out of the box, I just love them every time I see them. And since I got them for like $100 or something, I'm like, this is a great shoe for that price. All right, so with the help of the trusty Supreme screwdriver, I went ahead. Yes, you can use the dog tag that they include, but I went ahead and just used a screwdriver. It was a lot faster. But I added the yellow brackets, and honestly, this like hazard yellow, radioactive yellow looking color looks pretty dope on them as well. So I think I'm going to keep those on there. All right, now it is time to talk about mainline non-collaboration acronym. I bought this jacket right here. This came in a clear bag, as most acronym products do, and this is the name of the jacket. The naming conventions are a little bit strange. They're more so codes than they are names, but I got this in a size large. And if you are interested in acronym and buy it from a retailer or buy it secondhand, keep this bag, keep this information card, because if you plan to sell it in the future, it very much helps your case and actually adds to the value if you have the bag and information card. But this information card gives you the name of the jacket or a piece of clothing, that whatever you bought. It names literally all the different technologies and additions to the jacket, and then different pictures that are kind of showcasing the various different elements of the jacket itself. And I think this is just really, really cool attention to detail. It has the Gore-Tex tag on there as well, and it also came with a little patch that is like acronym branding. Because the piece of clothing is very much not branded, you can add this on there to have a little bit of branding if you really want people to know what you're wearing. It is going to be a little bit difficult for me to actually show you the jacket in its entirety, just because it is a long jacket, but this is basically an acronym trench coat. This is the size tag over here. I got a size large, the Gore-Tex branding as well. And as you can tell, it is a completely black and brandless jacket, which is awesome. And really where this jacket shines is going to be the little details. The material itself is probably the best waterproof material that I've worked with. It isn't too heavy. Water just brushes off super easy. I brought this on a trip with me to Vancouver. It drizzled a little bit and I didn't feel a thing. And it does come with a detachable hood. It also has this right here, which is a very fascinating little feature on the collar. They are magnetic. I don't have AirPods, but you can actually attach your AirPods here and have them hang right there, and they're just ready for you to just pull and put in your ear. Really cool little futuristic detail there. Has two-way zippers, so you can go ahead and fasten it and loosen it from the top and bottom. It has a double zipper for the collar as well, which is interesting because this outer zipper will zip all the way up to the collar, where the inner zipper will zip all the way up, making it more of a turtleneck type of thing going on. It has waterproof zippers for the pockets. As you can tell right here, the edges are coated. These zippers are some of the smoothest zippers I've ever used in my life, and I've never got them caught once. Every time I've tried to use the zippers, they have worked absolutely flawlessly. And then on the back here, on the outside of the garment, which is a little interesting, it has a carrying sling. So it goes from the back of the neck to either side of your sides. And basically, if you don't want to wear it, and if you kind of want to take your jacket off, you could basically just throw this across yourself as a sling. It worked absolutely perfectly when I was in Canada. This thing is incredible. This was very expensive. I paid like $800 or something like that, but super expensive. Really impressed with the quality of the piece of clothing as well as the just overall aesthetic. It is a really simple jacket. It is literally just a black kind of trench coat type of thing, but it really does feel like a super high quality jacket. There is more zippers towards the sleeve opening, but generally speaking, that is pretty much it. The insides have taped seams. As you can tell, there it is. You can kind of see the tape seam right over there. So no water gets in when you wear it whatsoever. This, I could go on forever about this acronym jacket. There is just something so special about this thing. And I hope to be able to buy more acronym products in the future, because if they're up to snuff with this jacket, I'm sure everything that they have. I really wanted to buy a pair of pants from acronym, but those are also wildly expensive. But maybe in the future. Maybe when I'm balling. Alright, enough of me absolutely glazing acronym as a brand. All in all, how is my experience with acronym products? It's overall positive, but there is a couple of negatives. I do think that they're very over-designed, whereas a lot of these features and things that come with these products are a little bit like overdone, to the point where it's like, this is really cool to have as a concept and as an idea, but how useful are they really in regular life? How much better is it than just like a regular jacket or trench coat? It's up to you to say. I definitely don't think I need this trench coat in my life, but I'm very happy to have it and very thankful to be able to spend the money on it for sure. But that's one thing. The price points of these pieces of clothing are crazy. The retail prices for a lot of acronyms, outerwear and pants, and are actually, yeah, specifically the outerwear and pants are like astronomically high. So I highly suggest, if you are going to buy acronym, look secondhand. There are definitely deals to be had, and it tends to wear really well over time and last a long time. So if you're interested in getting into acronym, maybe just kind of dipping your feet, there is a very healthy secondhand market available on multiple different secondhand platforms. I purchased my trench coat for about, I think, $800, and I think retail price was maybe like $1,500, if I'm not mistaken. It's all kind of foggy in my memory because I've had this for a little while now, and I've literally only used it for my trip to Canada because it just doesn't rain in Las Vegas, which is another thing. Like, I don't really need these hyper technical pieces of clothing where I live, which is super unfortunate. I wish I could get more use out of it. Maybe I'd buy more if I could get more use out of it. But what do you guys think of acronym? I know that it is kind of outside of what's popular right now in terms of the fashion meta, but I do think it is one of those mainstay brands that are just quintessential if anyone ever wants to kind of dip their feet in technical clothing. If you guys are interested in learning more about acronym or seeing other acronym pieces displayed, I highly suggest following This is Antoine on YouTube and Instagram. Really, really wonderful wealth of knowledge in terms of acronym. It seems like he owns just about everything acronym has ever produced and is my primary source of knowledge when it comes to looking up anything techwear or acronym related. So, thank you guys so much for allowing me to ramble on and on about something that I love. I appreciate you all, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Later.